It's my good friend Lori from Purposefully Unplugged, another show, our December 2022 show. You've been talking to me a lot about, the circle of support. And can you elaborate a bit more on that? Because I think it's really critical this time of year.
Mhm. When we look at any of our lives, it's kind of this inner circle, a middle circle, and a larger circle. So I'll use the example of myself. My inner circle, my kids, my mom, all of our family members, some very close friends are that inner circle. My next circle are my neighbors, kind of family members, coworkers, colleagues, people in the community. My outer circle are more community groups. So pharmacists, doctors, my volunteer commitments, Norfolk County Fair, things like that. So if we look at our lives, we have these circles of how close are people to us, what information will we share with them. So as I was thinking about that, I thought it's a good topic to talk about, particularly with the holidays coming up.
So do you surround yourself with that inner circle? Is that who you want to be with at Christmas? Like, I guess it makes sense that's who you want to be with, but sometimes it can be hard with that inner circle if they're family at Christmas too.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Any time of year presents some challenges for families if there's been anything that's a little bit disruptive or hurtful. And in those cases, Dave, often we have other people in our inner circles, and that's okay. So I think maybe our message today is just who is in your circles? Who's your inner? Who's your medium circle? Who's your outer circle? And part of what I was thinking about, Dave, we talked a lot about being kind. Last session was just be kind. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. And so one of the things I was thinking about is that if you've had a rough year, if there's a divorce, a death, if there's been a major diagnosis, if you've changed jobs, if you're in hospital or receiving a different level of care, then your circles have changed. Likewise, those who are in our lives, their circles have changed. That's what I wanted to bring some attention to. Think about your people who is in their circle, what might they need during the holiday season.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because your circles are constantly changing, really. Mm-hmm. Like, you've got your inner circle, which is probably the most grounded circle you're going to hang around with the most in your life. But it too can change from year to year, I guess, right? Season to season, really. So is that where when you're letting someone into that inner circle, is it a long time building trust? I guess it depends on the person. And if so, how do you go about that? Like, how do you know to let somebody in?
Trust, compassion, our own needs. We have to kind of respect our own barriers and boundaries. I think that's a question that could be a whole nother session at some point.
Okay.
Because when we talk,
you're right.
When we talk about this, we could add an intimacy level to this. Like, who do we let touch? Like, who touches us? Who do we let touch us? Who do we hug? Who don't we hug? And so that's really more of an intimacy circle. It can be interpreted that way too. But for the holidays, it's really, I guess one of the things I was reflecting on is if you know someone whose life has changed, add them to your list, reach out to them. And the other thing I thought too is I know we've just come out of COVID, but there's lots of families, lots of young people, and lots of professionals who are struggling with illness right now. So if you try to reach out to someone and they say they're not comfortable with it, some self-compassion needs to come to that as well. They're not making a judgment based on you. They're making a judgment on their own safety and their own health parameter.
I never would have thought of that. That's a great point because yeah, you can reach out, but sometimes people just aren't receptive and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have. But the point is you took that chance or you made that opportunity to help them as well. Great topic. Mm-hmm. Is there, with all this now, like you said, you've got these circles and with the holiday season, is it important to sort of time management, I guess, too, becomes kind of critical because you can have the inner circle on both sides of the family, can't you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think that's going to be an age-old question as well. Our families are always changing. Babies are born. That adds some other people that want to be close. People die. That adds a complex situation where some people just don't feel comfortable getting together. So our inner circle, you're right, is always going to change. And we kind of have to be flexible and shift with that by, again, being kind to ourselves and just showing some compassion to others.
And that the circle of support too, it comes out like, let's say I'm invited in I have a new friend and we're really hitting it off, and I'm sort of invited into that circle. I guess I have to have my own guidelines too, like you said, going into that, my own expectations, right?
Expectations, guidelines, preferences. And when you're joining another circle that is close to you, all kinds of things can happen that you just don't predict. There could be other
Hmm.
connections, other people they know, triggers in your own life that you really haven't thought about in a long time. But absolutely, always reach out. If you have a chance to make a new network and make a new friend, absolutely, we need to do that within the boundaries of that person and ourselves.
Wow. And especially like you said, this time of year, we got to be very cognizant of what we're doing with Christmas and New Year's and that support. Anything else to add to this? Because this, like you said, we could go off in another show here, but
Mhm. Well, my only thought is, who have you not reached out to in a while? Is there someone in one of your circles that it makes sense just to reach out to? And Dave, wouldn't it be lovely if we kind of went back to old cards in the mail where we actually wrote in hand? I think a lot of what we do now is just through the computer. And I'm wondering if there's a space just to kind of step back a bit and actually send some cards in the mail.
yeah, I think that's important too. And I do like the reconnection line, because you do lose track of old friends, and life gets busy, right? And especially the last couple of years, it's a great time just for sort of to reestablish your different circles of support, like of the three categories, and sort of refine them and make sure that, everybody knows you're good, and you checking in on them. That's really what it's about, isn't it?
And what we'd find is someone who has a major medical condition or is in hospital, a lot of their middle circle is gone. They've lost their neighbors. They might be living in a different residential environment. They lost their colleagues. So think of those folks that might be in your middle circle, but who've experienced a significant change. And think of some folks that are now living in nursing homes or hospitals where most of their circles are removed, and their doctors and professionals might be the only people in their circles now. So it's really just being sensitive, thinking about it, and maybe just reach out to one person. I mean, we certainly can't do more than that, but reach out to one person from one of your circles that just might benefit from receiving some contact.
I think and it leads to that, again, empathy and realizing that you are valuable to the community and you can help others. And I think sometimes we forget that we get sort of caught up in our own problems. We forget that, we're all good people. We can help each other. Correct.
We can all help whoever we'd like to choose. And that's where, even in your new situation where you're saying meeting someone new, that's going to open you up to an entire new circle. And there's folks there too that may benefit from just getting to know you a little bit.
I want to give you a chance before we go today. Do you want to wish happy holidays to all our viewers?
Absolutely. Season's greetings. I wish everyone wonderful time with friends, family, and just connect with each other. Be kind, be compassionate.
Thanks, Lori. Take care.
Bye.